morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Ozzy. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. And I actually made this video once already, but I am deciding in 3 hours before this video is going to be updated that I'm going to remake this video just to try and have it be a little bit more organized, clarify some things, and stuff like that. Now, before we get into the video, do not harass, attack anyone in the video, and that includes everyone, whether it is the person clearly using AI or whether it is the Divinia or other people in this post, this thread, this breakdown. Do not harass anyone, because if you do, it's not on my behalf, and I'll be damned if that shit comes back on me. Just to put it quite blankly, this is not to harass, spread like any like negative hatred or anything like that. I am kind of semi a part of this situation. Me and Divinia worked behind the scenes, of course, with a couple other people that I'm not going to share names, to try and gather as much evidence on this as I can. So please, again, show her some love, because in the end, she is the victim here, not once, but twice, which is absolutely insane that this situation turned into the way it is. Without further ado, let's get into today's hot mess of a video. So, a little bit of behind the scenes. All of this kind of took place when Divinia had placed a commission for a different artist. Keeping that in mind, this is not Pomni. Pawmi, sorry. She commissioned an artist for around 500k Royal High diamonds. The person replied within about 24 hours, and Divinia stated herself, saying in a post, on March 22nd, I reached out to inquire about a commission, which they replied to within 24 hours. On March 25th, Divinia was given the sketch, and she gave the scammer the following payment of 500k Royal High diamonds, because typically that's how commissions go in the Royal High community, that a user sends them the sketch and then they proceed to give the payment, because you typically don't want to pay someone before getting a sketch. After this, Divinia continued asking for updates on her commission, but never had gotten any or even anything back from the artist. They made a post of the following information, which I guess I could show this. It's not my doc, so if any of this information is inaccurate, I'm just taking it at a face value. The artist posted on TikTok, "Hey everyone, so TikTok is bugging really bad right now, and it doesn't let me message most of my clients, my other socials," and then it lists their other socials. After this post was made, Divinia added them on Discord to continue the commission, which didn't seem much out of the normal, as, again, that happens a lot of the times. I honestly don't post on TikTok, so I don't know how that platform works. Really, I do have a TikTok, I have posted on there, but I rarely ever do I open the app. I don't watch content on there. I don't interact with that app, so I have no understanding of how that app works. Divinia then kept asking for updates, and soon enough got a work in progress, which I can't say if it looked lazy and hardly touched, but this is the concept here, or the work in progress here, which for work in progress that wasn't sent, in a while, I will say it doesn't look like much, especially for me personally as an artist myself. Now, I don't know what the sketch was. It's not in this Google Doc personally, so I have no clue. Divinia then asked for an ETA, which the artist said it would be a few weeks, due to the fact that she wasn't sure how long the rendering, etc., process, etc., would take, which Divinia didn't mind much. She was just happy to get her artwork commissioned, obviously. This is a screenshot from Divinia's DMs with this artist saying, "Hey, do you have a rough ETA?" Those kind of things. And obviously there was eventually a post made where Divinia never got this artwork. She never got the finished piece or anything like that. That was the overall purpose of this. She didn't get her finished work and she was scammed. She was talking to Royal High Support, and Royal High Support was making comments of like, hey, this is cross-trading and things like that, which I think the biggest reason why it is cross-trading, but technically in the game rules, it isn't against the rules to do art commissions, but I think, and a couple other people have pointed this out, I think the biggest reason why they didn't return the diamonds is because you can't really confirm 100% if an artist did or didn't give you the artwork. You could have all of the DMs that you have, you could show them all of your flyers, and even then, there's like, you can't really 100% know that that person didn't give you the artwork. So Neo had eventually traded Divinia diamonds to kind of repay her for that. And that's kind of like the spark of all of this. That was what really started a lot of this. And it leads us to this Twitter post by Pomni. It says, glad your situation has been resolved. Since you didn't end up getting a PFP, here's a skeb. Feel free to use it, however, no credits needed. Now you can already see in the community notes, it says, this image contains synth ID watermark, which proves it was generated partially or fully with Google's AI image generation tools. So do keeping that in mind, this is confirmation that this artwork is AI. And it just kind of was pretty obvious. I think one thing too is the signature. I don't know if anyone's pointed this out. But the signature does not spell Pawmi. Like, there's P-A, and then there's a W, and then there's another W, and then there's an M and an I. And I don't write, much in cursive, because I can't read very well just in, like, normal text. Why would I try and write in cursive? But I did notice another signature of Pomni's that, like, is not exactly the same. But this is AI. There is proof of it being AI. And I think one of the big things is she did post a speed paint, and users were saying, oh, maybe she drew the artwork and then shoved it into AI. Which I do want to confirm is not the case in this situation, specifically because you can tell that the speed paint is clearly tracing something. So, obviously we have the community note. It says this image contains synth ID. This is stating that, hey, this image is AI. I do think another thing that is very interesting for me is the feel free to use however, no credits needed. But this isn't like an image that you can download, right? So it's not like she posted this skeb and then was like, hey, I'm gonna DM you the downloaded image. No, it has a white solid background and like all of the UI, which also is not accurate, in it. And I feel like if you're trying to give someone free artwork, at least for me, obviously, I wouldn't have a background on it. Or at the very least, if I'm gonna do it in a Twitter post, I would have the background and stuff like that. I'd have, you know, my signature all over the entire page being like, do not steal. And then I DM the person like a transparent image background, if that makes sense. Because if you're trying to use this skeb, as she calls it, as like a PFP or something like that, you would want it to have a transparent background so then you can create your own little backdrop for it. And I'll use some of my own stuff as an example here. So this like profile picture here, you can see that like it is a complete profile picture. This is all drawn. I did not draw this, by the way, that my lovely artist did. But if I wanted someone, let's say I made a free PNG tuber for someone, which I did pretty often. I haven't done it in a little while. This is not just my way of like promoting my art. Please don't take it that way in any way, shape, or form. But I think I did one for Neo. And so when I posted Neo's, I posted it like this. And you can even see, like, if you zoom in, I wrote my name in the hair. That way, like, that was the one thing that I felt like, oh yeah, it could possibly be colored over. I probably should have wrote it in the area of, like, the ombre and stuff like that. But I had the solid background image in the post, which could be used as, like, the PFP, and then I also, like, ended up sharing the transparent photo of it to her as well, so then she could have a transparent version of the photo. So I think that that's just interesting. The no credits needed part is also very interesting because when you make art for someone, you typically, like, you want them to be able, you want it to tie back to you, especially if it's free art, right? Because typically artists make free art for one of many reasons, but obviously likes, clicks, views, those kind of things are a big one, especially as a content creator. That's not saying all people who do free art are doing it for the views and stuff like that, but it is part of it. Like, it is a reason. People post art online because they want people to see it. So why would you not want the credits to come back to you? Which I think is interesting. So there is a second post, and she says, for those of you that are concerned, and we have a speed paint, and we have this post. She says, I logged on today to see the absolute dumpster fire that was my comment section after posting a free, emphasis on free, artwork for someone who was scammed. I do want to clarify, it does not matter whether you made it, you were doing it for free or not. If it's AI, it's AI. You didn't make it. I think Davinia would have appreciated no art than AI art. She says, honestly, I take the skepticism as a compliment. However, which I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Never take someone claiming your artwork is AI as a compliment. No genuine artist would do that. I'm just saying. Anyways, there's many people who have used this as an opportunity to lash out rather than utilizing common sense or allowing me the time to even post a time lapse. I check Twitter infrequently, which also is not the case. Just about every YouTube video she makes is on Twitter, and don't get me wrong, typically my YouTube videos are scheduled in advance, so I'll like post my YouTube videos, I'll record them a week before and then post them the next week. But like, you're a content creator who is constantly talking about Twitter on your content in your videos, you clearly check it enough. For those who are skeptical, specifically about the sketching/design process, I attached that portion of the time lapse here. I appreciate the concern, but I want to emphasize, I hire artists, am an artist, and would not use AI in my own work. I am aware no matter how much evidence I provide, people will still lie, make fake screenshots, and spread narratives. Not to worry, I'll be posting full time lapse of my drawings in the backgrounds of my commentary. So she is a commentary YouTuber, if you don't know. So she typically commentaries like Roblox drama, and then she'll have her playing a Roblox game in the background. It's kind of like those videos of those like AI Reddit stories where people are playing like fucking Subway Surfers, or there's always a movie in the background. Kind of like that. Not comparing her to that specifically, but I'm just saying it's using it as a reference. For those who have, I assume, spread false rumors, I'll accept your apologies in the comments below. Just teasing. But you never posted an apology. Just say it. Like, you want apologies from everyone else, but you didn't post one. Seriously though, feel free to check my YouTube in the coming days as I begin posting my workflow, time-lapse, and sketches in my video. So again, this, OP is using, this also got community noted. It says, OP is using Procreate, which allows you to hide images from time-lapse. The speed paint itself clearly shows them obviously tracing a hidden layer. If you're not someone who has, like, ever done a speed paint before, which is a complete time-lapse, like, it is, from start to finish, the complete time-lapse of an artwork. And if you've not seen them before or used them before, anything like that, you may not know this, but like, the only way it would not show the finished thing is if they cut it off, if they edited the speed paint. Now, the reason why people think, oh, maybe she drew it and then shoved it into AI is because it cuts off here. And they're like, oh, well, maybe she did genuinely draw this and then shove it into AI. She's very clearly tracing. As someone who, there's nothing wrong with tracing. I do want to point this out. There's nothing wrong with tracing when it's your own artwork, when it's not free art or for a commission, and when it's for learning. But you shouldn't be tracing AI. You also shouldn't shove somebody's OC into AI and then fake a speed paint. You know? Like that's when it comes wrong. So as someone who has traced in their speed paint, or in their artworks, and I don't hide it because I use IBIS, which isn't possible to hide layers like that. Procreate is the only app that I know that does that. Which isn't a bad thing. I think originally the whole system of Procreate allowing you to hide layers was to originally, let's say you took a photo of yourself and you wanted to use your personal, like, body and stuff like that as a reference, but you didn't want people to see that in the speed paint. I think that was, like, the original purpose of it. So again, it's not like, oh, Procreate's really bad and they're letting people do this. Like, it's not, it wasn't originally intended for this, obviously. I do think this is interesting because there's a couple things that I want to point out in this speed paint that a couple other people have. So in her YouTube video that she made about this, she says, genuine question, how do you prove your innocence when providing the layers, something she didn't provide, the time lapse, something that she didn't, you could say that she provided it, in my opinion she didn't because it's clearly traced and it's not accurate, references, something she didn't provide, and other work matching the same style still isn't enough. You also didn't provide other work matching the same style. Now, there are a ton of comments on this post, and this post has, like, 5 million plus views, and so far, 846 people have reposted or quoted this. So, reposting just means that, hey, they've popped it up on their feed to show their followers, but quoting typically means that they're responding to it, which is fair, because she turned off the comments. And I said, not sure that's the same drawing. From missing stars, which is in reference to the fact that there were stars up here, stars down here and not here. From missing stars, hands not touching, not to mention again, Divinia's character is missing assets. No offense, Pomni, this isn't looking good. Also, just because you made something for free doesn't really mean much, so not sure why the emphasis. She says, respectfully, I don't care what you think. I have literally nothing to gain from making a free speed paint or using AI. Hence my emphasis on it being free. Literally nothing to gain, LMAO. And it's just, like, there was just so much evidence of, like, this and her other artwork, like, clearly being traced and AI and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, you didn't provide the layers at all, actually. I don't know if she even provided them in the video that she made about it, but from what I've seen, she hasn't. You didn't provide a finished or accurate time-lapse of anything. You also never showed your references, so I think that that's interesting that she claims that she did, but didn't. Another user says, quick question. If you started out with the hearts in your beginning sketch for the halo, why did you switch to stars? Not being accusatory, but just asking. People are calling this AI because of the key inconsistencies. She said, I didn't know how to make the heart look like it was turned 3/4. A star was easier. Should I not use creative freedom? Which I think this is really important to pay attention to, because you can see in the speed paint, she didn't even try and draw, like, a heart. Like, I feel like if you were struggling to draw a heart, it would have shown in the speed paint. You know, like it would have been there. And there's nothing wrong with taking creative freedom. Like, I take creative freedom on some things all of the time. When it's my own artwork, or when it's something I'm making for myself. Sorry. So I do think that this is interesting. I think this is something like I pointed out a lot, though, is like she had a sketch of a heart, but she didn't actually end up drawing the heart. I also feel like a star is harder to draw than a heart, but you could also just, like, use the mirror tool, draw the heart, and then just, like, move it and angle it, which I think a lot of people also pointed out, like, how bullshit this was. Another user says, what's going on here? Which, again, this shows, like, the differences in the, I see if I can zoom this in real quick. And this shows the differences, like, the complete difference in the, thing here. What's it called? The signature. Oh my god. I traced the artwork I did for a YouTube short for this piece because it was last minute. Last minute? But it was free. Why didn't you just take your time? Also, this is what irritates me, is she says, oh, I traced this artwork for a YouTube short. but you can't see it in the Procreate, which she like. From what I heard, I didn't watch the YouTube video because I knew it was going to be absolute bullshit. And I think that that's why people are going to be like, "Oh, well, you didn't watch the video. You didn't even try." I'm not going to give her the benefit of the doubt when I already knew that she was lying from just the speed paint post. um, I think it's interesting that she said that she traced an artwork that she made for YouTube, but it didn't show up in the speed paint. Again, Procreate can hide layers. If the speed paint was genuine, which is not, and I'll show proof of why it doesn't add up and things like that in just a second. Can I stop coughing? So, I think that this is interesting just because, again, the alleged traced artwork, wasn't in the speed paint whatsoever, and she, from what I know of, claimed that she didn't know how to hide layers in Procreate. But you clearly were tracing something. Like, you clearly were. It was obvious. Like, we kind of all could tell. Like, I feel like anyone could tell. Genuinely. But maybe that's just me. And I don't know anything about Procreate or brushes or anything like that, but I did find this when I was looking for, like, to gather some more information on this topic, and it talks about what brushes she uses, and I think it's interesting, um, because I don't think she once, like, used, at least the airbrush in this, but it says, it depends. For this sketch, I used the Scopus pencil and Procreate, and did my line art slash coloring with the I don't fucking know pen. And I blend using a modified soft airbrush. We didn't see her blend anything in the speed paint though, so I think that's interesting. I think it's interesting how her correcting is just going 4K views. This is an insane situation. So there's a couple posts. Massive credits to these next 3 creators that I'm about to showcase because I think these are like very, very interesting. So this first one is going to be by a creator named Bobby Pin, which I think she like just clocked it. Like, I don't think you'd have to have anybody else's evidence in this situation to just know. But they made a complete breakdown of the situation, and you know, I think I'll just let you guys watch it for yourself and see what you think.
Hello, I am making this video to give a little bit of context to those who may be out of the loop, as well as share why I believe Pawmi used AI and faked her time-lapse. I will only be going over the time-lapse, as I believe it speaks for itself. Yesterday, on July 8th, Pawmi posted this tweet, claiming to give free art to a Royale High Twitter community RHTC member who had been scammed. However, many members in the RHTC raised suspicions of Pawmi using AI due to the quality of the work. This is what the original uploaded art looks like. Keep this in mind. You can see that its line art was drawn with a slightly blurry brush that has opacity, pressure sensitivity. The lines also have color variation. The outside of the hair also has strands drawn in, with 0 line art, only 1 brushstroke. This will change in her speed paint. Due to the AI accusations, Pawmi posted this time-lapse. It is incomplete, so we will have to keep this in mind. It is just a sped-up version of the one in the background of her response video. This is the final result of her time-lapse. Remember what I said about the brush before? I'll now go over the 2 pieces directly to showcase more inconsistencies. Simply overlapping the 2 make this obvious. The thumbs touch in the original, but not in the time-lapse. Plus jewel on necklace is disconnected. The top of the nail is fully enclosed on the time-lapse, but on the original, there is a gap in the line art. The original has hatching underneath the chin, and at the back of the hair, which is missing from the time-lapse. There is an extra lip line, where the bottom of the shadow should be. The highlights on the nose is much darker and all blended out in the time-lapse. The highlights on the cheeks are missing entirely. 2 of the 4 stars, which weren't even in the original design, are missing in the time-lapse. There are messy lines running through the ears in the time-lapse, and the pearls on the ear ridges are completely missing. The left iris is wider and has a different placement. the highlight on the left eye is on the wrong side. The left eye is on a completely different angle to the original. In the time-lapse image, it seems Pawmi simply copied and pasted the eyeline art, while in the original, the eyes are independently drawn. Remember what I said about the hair strands not having line art at the start of the video? In the time-lapse image, Pawmi has lined those strands. In conclusion, I strongly believe that Pawmi generated the original image with AI, and then used the Procreate hidden layer feature to trace over the image in an attempt to create an authentic time-lapse. In her video description, she asked, "What does one have to gain from posting free art?" Pawmi is not well liked in the RHTC, so her giving free art is a way for her to get in a good book with the community members. But she's lazy, so she used AI. Lol.
So yeah, again, I feel like just that video alone would prove, and there's, I think, a decent bit of stuff that video didn't talk about, like, you know, there's color differences, the faces, again, they, like, just don't line up. There's stuff like that they obviously, like, didn't bring up, but even without that stuff being brought up, this breakdown is legit one of the best breakdowns, I think, that is the most obvious about this, being AI. So another user brought up how, again, they say, "This is not the same drawing. I'm even more sure this is AI. You also fail to show the finished process. If this was an actual speed paint, things would be in the same place, or at least you'd show that you moved them." Which I think is important, because people will be like, "Oh, but sometimes I move things around." Yes, you do. Artists do that. I do that. But it would show that you moved them around in the speed paint. That's why it's such a big detail that's missed. And so this is them kind of just showing the two images on top of each other, and how there's pretty drastic changes, and I think it's pretty obvious in my opinion. But again, some people can't find it obvious, and that's okay. I don't think you should definitely, like, I don't think anyone who is like, "Oh, I can't find this obvious," or "Why this isn't AI," like, I don't think anyone should be attacked or anything like that, obviously, because it might not be obvious to some people, which is why I think when people are like, "Oh, how can people not tell that this is clearly AI?" Some people aren't around AI enough to know that if something is or isn't AI. Another user pointed out, says, "The stronger points in her post are the symbol, which is in this bobby pin post. Even the symbols for Procreate literally changed. They're not one-to-one." So this is a photo of a actual Procreate app. This is the photo of the UI, and this is on the same for both sides. And then we obviously have this image. So if we look very, very close, we can see it says gallery. We can see this here. We can see like a wrench thing. We've got a little wand with some sparkles. We've got an S, and then we've got a mouse. But I think this is really important to keep in mind, because she has these as well, but you can see that, like, her wand, the highlights are like hollow in a sense. Also the line of the, like, wand, because you can see, like, there's a little cut here, is in a different spot. You can see this little S has like a diagonal, and it's kind of like more teardrop shaped here, and then again this is cut as an agonal, even though this is like very clearly looking like a smooth S. And then you can see the arrow here has more curves, like sharp points, and then we can see here that it doesn't have that. Even like just the stick is like a sharp point, but I think it's very, very interesting. Like, the fact that whatever she shoved this into, like, the UI is so bad. And this. So we have another artist who comes out and says, "This is someone sketching over AI. The teardrop crystal on the halo is drawn in before the halo is in the first picture. Any artist with this quality would never, and I mean never, sketch the extremely fine details." Which I think what they mean is the fact that this is a fine detail. You can see that this face jewel is here before even the halo is in the picture, which I think, again, that's kind of interesting. And the outline of the AI compared to this, or the speed paint compared to the AI and stuff like that, is completely in a different place, which I think just this overlap shows of like just the black line. I wish it was kind of in a different color to make it a little bit more visible. But I think it shows so drastically how like stuff is not in the same spot. Which I think is interesting. So yeah, so that's like the first part of this drama, and this situation happening has brought up more drama of Pomni allegedly having multiple identities. And we're not talking like, oh hey, like my real name isn't Ozzy IRL. We're talking like multiple different content creator names, platforms, and even being in drama for the similar uses of AI under different platforms. So over on YouTube, Davinia dropped a video talking about her thoughts, her feelings about this whole AI situation with her artwork, and she made a Twitter post saying, "Ever wondered how Pomni could avoid a VTuber model because she was a VTuber in her first video? Well, it's because this isn't her first identity. She was Charmsy slash Toast Roblox. Both known for GFX tutorials. The AI image on the card is the cherry on top." So these are comments from Davinia's YouTube video, and it says, one user says, "I used to watch Pomni on her old channel before she deleted it and rebranded as Pomni. And she does have a history of painting," I'm assuming this is supposed to say painting, "herself as a victim, specifically only showing one side of the argument that will make her look more innocent. I feel very sorry that you had to go through all of this on Twitter, all of this Twitter drama," which, before I continue, this is one thing that kind of frustrates me about all of this, is because this went from exposing a scammer to now like kind of all about Pomni and stuff, and it was kind of frustrating to me. But a bunch of artists did reach out to Davinia and make her a bunch of art, which I think is amazing. Another Twitter comment says, "The fact she went from Charmsy slash Toast Roblox, who were unproblematic, to this is kind of sad, considering she used to make GFX." And then there were some responses to this Twitter post. One says, "I knew all of this since the beginning because someone else exposed her when she was starting out with this channel." Davinia says, "Glad it came up again, oh my." Another creator says, "Damn, am I the only one who really knew this? It's crazy how she's the reason I started GFX and Blender. Good thing everyone is shining light on this." And Davinia says, "Rah, I'm so behind." So I also worked with Davinia to make a thread on this, so that's where I got these first two screenshots from. Again, these are the comments of these screenshots. And all of the links that I use will be like in the description of my video if I can have them all. It says, "You can find Toast Roblox portfolio," which is clearly an AI photo of an anime girl. So we can go to their card. And it shows Toast Roblox, Roblox Dev, plus Roblox Dev is interesting to me, plus content creator, which this dev part will be shown. And then it is a very clearly AI photo of some anime girl, and I think for me, again, this is obvious, but one really big thing is this necklace here magically turns into a shirt ribbon. I just think it's very obvious. You can see these flowers that are like cascading into each other. I don't think cascading is the right word. So we've got GFX PFP, GFX banners, group icons, and then some examples of her work, order reviews. We've got terms of service as well, which I do think these are interesting. For sure. And you can't, I don't think any of these social links work anymore. As you can see, like, this is supposed to take us to their Twitter, and I think it's just gonna say this account doesn't exist. But you can still find their, commission page on Ko-Fi, which it says Ko-Fi Toast commissions, but then it also says Charm. Surprise me commission $5.50. This commission is type where you cannot choose the details of your order in exchange for a GFX being cheaper than usual. We've got transparent bundle, YouTuber package, advanced banner, GFX PFP, transparent render, YouTube thumbnail, GFX group icon, and it's just like, I don't know why Ko-Fi's are loading really slowly. I'm wondering if it's just like because it's kind of old. But yeah, you can just see a bunch of like their artwork that does again very clearly show that it is them. And you can even see, right, again, looking at the link here, let me see if I can actually, you guys can't see the link. If you look at the link up at the top there, ignore my bookmarks, okay? I've got some unorganized stuff. It says Toast Roblox, but you can see here in the description, hey there, I'm Charmsy, a GFX and YouTube content creator / graphics artist on YouTube. Please be sure to review my terms of service before ordering. And this is just showcasing a lot of their art. So you can see it, like, they have a watermark of Charmsy here for a while, and then I think we could view more of their gallery, and after we scroll for God knows how long, we'll probably find a Toast watermark as well. I think we can just view their gallery. So yeah, we definitely have, I don't know why, again, this website is, like, breaking, but we have a bunch of their artwork and stuff like that. Which is using that same Charmsy thing, but also the link being Toast, which I think is very, very interesting to point out. So my next point is you can still find their Ko-Fi at the moment and Royal High Diamonds commissions. So this was a form that they could choose. And it says, turns out the Charmsy's channel is still up. All content was removed, but you can see a massive subscriber account. You can also see that this is a check mark, which I think like is like YouTube verified or something like that. I don't know how hard it is to get a checkmark on YouTube, but I don't have one, so I don't know. Speculation, having a previous identity would explain how someone could have the money for a fully modeled VTuber, 4 of them, or 3 of them, and it explains their experience with making content. I also think someone pointed this out. I don't know if I'll be able to find their post, but Pomni's very first video on the Pomni channel didn't even introduce herself. But it was your first video on your channel. Like, wouldn't you want to introduce yourself to some extent? Especially because you already have a VTuber and stuff like that. You already have a setup. You would want to, like, introduce yourself. There was no debut or anything like that. Which I thought was interesting. Again, I said, I do think personally it explains how one can start a new channel and have this much experience, let alone money, for not one, but multiple VTubers. After the recent AI art she made, which was confirmed to be AI, after more creators started to spread awareness on the situation, especially on YouTube, over 5 million views now, more users have talked about watching Pomni before switching identities. Now, this alleged post, and then this Reddit post, which we will, bring up, shows a drastic, a difference in information here. So, a Reddit post basically confirms they're the same people. I'm OP of the post, a different account. We seem to have found her. Compare her voice to the girl's voice in the video. It has to be her. And then, again, these are more screenshots of people. This is a reason, this is Charmsy's reason of leaving their channel. So, I do think that that's also interesting. And then, did you guys ever find it? I'm still looking for it. And then there's people, like, sharing, hey, this is Pomni, this is Pomni. One user says, she says she outgrew Roblox and doesn't want to support the game anymore, but she's making a channel about talking about the game. Sorry. Doesn't that make no sense? And someone says, yeah, it's weird, but maybe she changed her mind. Which I think is interesting. And this is the full thread, still up to this day. Charmsy/Toast Roblox. There's a YouTuber named Charmsy, formerly known as Toast, who ranked up 100k subs by making GFX. Now in 2025, she's decided to quit, but kept her videos. Until a couple months ago, when I checked on her videos were gone. Charmsy had GFX tutorial, shaders tutorial, and a lot more useful videos. Now that she's deleted her PFP, banner, videos, bio, keeping only her Roblox account, which she still uses, which has at least 500k Robux worth on it. Leave your theory here on why she deleted the content below. And you can just see a bunch of people being like, hey, this is her new account, this is her new account, this is her new account, this is her new account. And if you click on the links, it's Pomni. Like, it's her channel. My computer's running a little bit slow here because I have like a ton of tabs here, but it's her channel, which is insane. Because, like, hey, this is her channel. This is her channel. Another person shared this with me as well. Even more confirming Toast and Charmsy are the same person, which adds that all three are the same person. There is a Charmsy Roblox group by Charmsy YT, and then you could see the previous names: Toast Roblox, Kermit Call, and I can't pronounce this one, but maybe those are other identities as well, you could say. Another user speaks out about Charmsy/Toast, and they say, honestly, Charmsy/Toast has been rude to several other smaller creators, including my mutual friends. Her stories of other people also always seem kind of twisted and not 100% true. She'll also delete comments that she doesn't like and always puts on this nice act. She also seems like she is much older and is bullying younger creators. Based off of some of her stories, she is probably in college, left college, or is almost in college, meaning she is an adult, or almost one. I can't say that for sure, but it seems pretty likely. Why did it lose my spot? Go back. There you go. Another user sharing their experience, and I said, not gonna lie, again, this sounds really familiar. Now, this is a long one, so we gonna read. I'm gonna try my best. Says, honestly, Charmsy's audience feels very brainwashed in my opinion. I'm not saying I hate her or have anything against the people who watch her. I used to be a really huge fan up until a few months ago when someone posted a video addressing something that Tosa's Charmy said about them and their commissions. Apparently, according to Charmsy, she ordered a watermark and then she saw someone else who had allegedly ripped off her watermark. She also claimed that the person who she commissioned was using reusable templates. The person who she commissioned then made an hour-long video addressing the situation. I won't go into detail, but the person who Charmsy said ripped her off, her watermark ended up being ordered first. So basically, Charmsy, Pomni, Toast ordered something from someone and then tried to claim that somebody was stealing her commission, which isn't true because the person who she said was stealing ordered it first. Charmsy also asked for a similar design to one of the examples that was available to everyone. I had started to be kind of skeptical about her content for a while, and after finding out that she had been rude about a smaller content creator, I kind of just stopped watching her. I don't want to lie and say that I never enjoyed her content, but I find it a bit repetitive. This isn't just her though. I feel like it's with almost all speed GFX content. But the thumbnails, story times, and even the title of the video are super repetitive. Sometimes even being the same exact thing. I have no problem with repetitive content, but I realized that so many commentary YouTubers, usually the ones with strong/influential opinions and personas, post a ton of similar content with eye-catching titles and thumbnails. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Damn, this is a read. Holy shit. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I found myself believing nearly every word she said and agreeing with so many of her opinions, even if I didn't want to, which I think is very insane. And I think it takes a lot to be honest about, hey, I'm believing someone who is clearly lying, and I feel that, obviously. After watching a ton of story times, I started to realize that they didn't really add up. I understood that it was probably for entertainment purposes, but she never said so. I also started to realize that her YouTube shorts seemed a bit off. I say this because she would always use similar songs. I don't have anything against that. The songs were trending, and she probably used them to get views. And she would always share extremely similar, if not same, opinions. The only thing about them that sort of ticked me off was the turn into a person who ruined your life trend. I found the trend to be super problematic, and I was a bit disappointed that a YouTuber who I thoroughly looked up to at the time did it. I have nothing against story times that don't add up or repetitive trends, But after so many of her fans kept accusing small creators who just want to take inspiration, it's usually a very fine line between inspiration and copying. These people are usually creative with their content, and I enjoy watching some of them into occasion. I don't think I'm going to continue reading all of this because my head hurts. But here's the next part. I think again this is very similar. There's parts of this that I definitely think speak out a lot. Allegedly, this Silver Speaks account also belongs to Pomni. Photo from the Wayback Machine. So if you don't know what the Wayback Machine is, a very slow website. But basically, it allows you to kind of travel back in time when you want to look at a website. So as you can see, if my big ass character wasn't in the way, up here in this corner, it says November 5th, 2025. So this is taking us back to November 5th of 2025. And it is this Sova Speaks video, and you can see that like this is decently before, or around the same time, maybe a little bit before Pomni had came out. This is Monsterverse drama, DTI drama, Leah Ash situation, those kind of things. And it says, I cover breakdowns on controversies alongside sharing my opinions primarily about something, because I can't see the rest of it. This channel at the current moment, the Silver Speaks, which again was posting copy-pasted stuff from the other personas/identities. There is a post from about 7 months ago, give or take. It says, Hello, as you may have recognized, I wiped all of my content. I wanted to dedicate a few weeks to dip my toes in the water and see how I can go about creating on this platform. The best way to do so was to try a few trial vids. All of my vids were just that. SOZ, which I think is supposed to be sorry, to those who witnessed the bad quality. Skull emoji. Over the few days, I had thorough discussions with my partner regarding the channel, and we decided it'll be great. It'll be a great yapping outlet for me, and I couldn't agree more, to be honest. I have spent a few days speaking back and forth between various photo editors who can produce thumbnails for me, as I'm not tech savvy, clearly, because you used AI, whatsoever. I'm happy to say I settled on a super talented freelancer to produce them. Going forward, my thumbnails will be more high quality and prettier than my last. I'll be creating another community post informing you all about my uploading schedule soon. And then she was never seen again. You can see in this description here, it says, being offended by freedom of speech should never be regarded as a justification for violence. I cover breakdowns on controversies alongside sharing my opinion primarily about communities within the Roblox platform. And then this description, oh girl, this description was a very interesting one. It's gonna force me to scroll all the way back to the top here. Someone says, I mean, only one person comes to mind who uses these quotes. And I say, oh girl, context. Silver Speaks description has a quote from insert person's name that I cannot say. This person is a lawyer who defended, insert a name that I cannot say, Trump and Epstein. Yeah. Also, apparently, this person, again, I don't know much, but this person, was pro-Israel and even wrote a book about it. And then there was this shared here. Not to mention her repost on X, and it shares Pomni's Discord, and the description here said, or the bio, sorry. If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent may be led, like sheep to the slaughter. And that is a quote from George Washington, which I think is interesting because they said, now why would you quote racist people and make videos on how you can disagree with someone being LGBT? Pomni has some serious explaining to do because this pattern is giving MAGA mentality. Yeah, which, believe in what you want to believe in. Personally, I do think that that's interesting, and there's definitely some other claims that have come up as well. The CharmZ2 channel was also found on, I think this one is also on the Wayback Machine. Hey there and welcome to my channel. My name's Toast. but their channel name is Charmsy. I'm a Roblox developer and GFX artist. This is my official secondary YouTube channel. My main channel can be found by searching Toast Roblox, which again, but the channel name is Charmsy. Find that interesting. And you can even see the channel name is Charmsy, but the PFP picture is somebody holding toast, which, now that I kind of look at it, this character has brown hair. Maybe I'm reaching, but like Pomni's VTuber had brown hair. Not a good look for Toast / Charmsy / Sova / Pomni. Jeez, I really need to learn how to enunciate. Can be found on the Wayback Machine. Warning, it takes a while to load. So I guess this is a video. Somebody said that this was bad. I can understand the context of it, but I think this is meant to, like, you can tell that she's using Canva for this. I know exactly what arrow that is. Sorry. No shade. I use Canva too, so we chill it. But I guess that this video is some kind of like glitch scam thing that it probably isn't very useful. Some more interesting content from Toast / Charmsy / Sova / Pomni. So many slashes, so many different identities. Again, this is another photo from the Wayback Machine, which is why it'll say 17 hours ago, 1 day ago, etc. Which again, I think thumbnail styles, I think it does kind of fit, in my opinion. Just to clarify, the post will say things like uploaded 8 days ago because the Wayback Machine is using old dates to view old content. And I shared, she's likely going to erase everything, wipe everything, and come back as somebody else. I think y'all should be on the lookout for fewer uploads, newer channels, thumbnails, etc. Clearly, in my opinion, she has the money to have 4 identities now. Who's to say she won't do it again? Lord have mercy, there is even more on this situation. Oh, how, it's still going, by the way. It's still going. Another content creator says, I've looked through archives about the channel Charmsy and I found 2 old videos where she talks, and I think that by the voice, tone, and how she speaks, it's definitely her, even though she sounds a bit younger in the video. So let's take a listen to that.
Here's a tutorial on how you can make GFXs like this in only 15 minutes. Hey Toasties, and welcome back to the video. Before I get started, here's the 11th winner of my 10,000 Robux giveaway. Don't worry if you haven't won yet, because there's still 9 more chances to win, and you can enter by watching this video. Anyways, let's get into it. So before I get started, I want to highlight that the first part of this video I actually learned from another YouTuber. Here's his channel, and I'd really recommend checking out his tutorials because they're really clear and easy to follow. So anyways, the first part of this video is going to be very similar to his. Alright, so the first thing.
So I think one really big thing that I think stood out to me was this so anyways part, and then again,
Toasties, and welcome back to the video. Before I get started, here's the 11th winner of my 10,000 Robux giveaway. Don't worry if you haven't won yet, because there's still 9 more chances to win, and you can enter by watching this video. Anyways, let's get into it.
So the anyways, let's get into it. I feel like, again, this definitely sounds like it is a younger version of her, or maybe even a less confident version of her. But definitely, again, I feel like it sounds like her in my opinion. I can't find the post. Maybe I might be able to. Oh no, okay, there was. Okay, I did find it. So somebody had even like tuck in clips of this video and current Pomni's video and uploaded them into a software that could show similarities in the voices. It says the pics of her YouTube videos shows she was doing Leah Ash Royal High and DTI drama before she became Pomni. The last picture I put a recording of Charmsy's content, which Charmsy is Toast, and Pomni's voice into a voice matching app, and this confirms that they're the same. So we can see that this is Charmsy's content making these videos, Charmsy / Toast making these videos again, and these videos again, and then apparently higher scores indicate greater similarity. The score ranges from -1 to 1, but typically fall between 0 and 1 for voice comparisons. Results similarity analysis. Similarity score 0.3327. Same speaker model prediction. Yes. So that is whatever this website is saying, that it thinks that it is the same speaker. Same speaker. So, again, this is basically just this website being like, hey, yo, I think Charmsy and Toast, who are the same person, which we know, is also Pomni, which I think is interesting. So obviously that is a lot to go over, a lot to take in. Please don't harass, attack, or anyone who was talked about in this situation. It's a lot. It's a lot to go over. I would love to hear your thoughts. I have a great feeling that my auto mod is going to be doing an amazing time with the comments today, because I just know that there's going to be someone, some way, somehow, being a very not so nice person. Hopefully me remaking this video ended up being a lot better than me remaking this video hopefully is going to be a lot better than the original that I made, because I think it is, at least. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you guys have, you know, any of your own experiences, stuff like that? I did hear that someone is going to be doing a Q&A with one of the alleged artists who worked for Pomni, or Toast, I think it was. And then I seen another artist speak up as well. There also are a ton of other YouTubers who have you know, talked about this situation, so I will also have them linked in the description below. But in the end, all in all, please make sure to go show love and support to Davinia, because she's a victim in this situation, not once but twice. So if I do not get to see you guys later today, I hope to see you all later tomorrow, and I will be back to my regular content, hopefully not making a video on this ever again, but I will try and update, or at least on Twitter, of any information that I find, so you can find me there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.